Hello, how are you? It is I. I think I'm called Classic ASMR, and welcome once more to our sort of old new channel. If you've been here for a little while, you know I actually started this 6 years ago, but only did 2 videos until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I'm delighted to report we now have 104 followers. Hooray! Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. As you may or may not know, we're trying to raise some money to put on new theatre productions. Initially in England, and then at the Edinburgh Festival, Edinburgh Fringe in Scotland. And one of my plays actually opened off-Broadway in New York at Christmas. So that was kind of cool. And if we can make this channel work, I shall endeavour to use anything that we make from, sponsorships or whatever it is that we have to do. You can see I'm good at this, can't you? Anyway, that's the whole point of us being here. So thank you very much. 105 followers, which is great when you think just 2 weeks ago I think we had 12. And I thought what I'd do is relaxing ASMR. Is continue, even though it's not Christmas, with this book, the story of this book. Story. And I've already sort of shamed myself by pointing out that I bought this from a bookshop in London on Charing Cross Road, and it cost me £65, which is an awful lot of money for a struggling writer, but it's been worth it because now there are 104 people following this channel, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. Now I've also got my Welsh bookmark somewhere so that we can carry on the story where we left off. I've just got to find it. It's here somewhere. Oh, a message from the sea. That's another story. Here we go. This is my Welsh bookmark. And you may remember, excuse me, this is the 7 Poor Travellers, the story of. I won't go back on this because if you go back to, I think, was it version 4 or 5? That's on there. So I shall carry on with chapter 3 of, let's move my Welsh bookmark. Chapter 3 of The 7 Poor Travellers by Charles Dickens. And it's called, as you can see, it's called The Road. My story being finished down the wassail too, we broke up as the cathedral bell struck 12. I did not take leave of my travellers that night, for it had come into my head to reappear in conjunction with some hot coffee at 7 in the morning. As I passed along the high street, I heard the Waits at a distance and struck off to find them. They were playing near one of the old gates of the city, at the corner of a wonderfully quaint row of red brick tenements, which the clarionet obligingly informed me were inhabited by the minor canons. They had odd little porches over their doors, like sounding boards over old pulpits, and I thought I should like to see one of the minor canons come out upon his top step and favour us with a little Christmas discourse about the poor scholars of Rochester, taking for his text the words of his master relative to the devouring of widows' houses. The clarionet was so communicative, and my inclinations were, as they generally are, of so vagabond a tendency, that I accompanied the Waits across an open green called the Vines, and assisted, in the French sense, at the performance of 2 waltzes, 2 polkas, and 3 Irish melodies, before I thought of my inn any more. However, I returned to it then, and found a fiddle in the kitchen, and Ben, the wall-eyed young man, and 2 chambermaids circling around the great deal table with the utmost animation. I had a very bad night. It cannot have been owing to the turkey or the beef, and the wassail is out of the question, but in every every endeavour that I made to get to sleep, I failed almost dismally. I was never asleep, and in whatsoever unreasonable direction my mind rambled, the effigy of Master Richard Watts perpetually embarrassed it. In a word, I only got out of the worshipful Master Richard Watts' way by getting out of bed in the dark at 6 o'clock, and tumbling, as my custom is, into all the cold water that could be accumulated for the purpose. The outer air was dull and cold enough in the street when I came down there, and the one candle in our supper room at Watts' Charity looked as pale in the burning as if it had had a bad night too. But my travellers had all slept soundly, and they took to the hot coffee and the piles of bread and butter which Ben had arranged like deals in a timber yard as kindly as I could desire. While it was yet scarcely daylight, we all came out into the street together, and there shook hands. The widow took the little sailor towards Chatham, where he was to find a steamboat for Sheerness. The lawyer, with an extremely knowing look, went his own way, without committing himself by announcing his intentions. Two more struck off by the cathedral and Oldcastle for Maidstone, and the book peddler accompanied me over the bridge. As for me, I was going to walk by Cobham Woods as far upon my way to London as I fancied. When I came to the stile and footpath by which I was to diverge from the main road, I bade farewell to my last remaining poor traveller, and I pursued my way alone. And now the mists began to rise in the most beautiful manner, and the sun to shine, and as I went on through the bracing air, seeing the hoar frost sparkle everywhere, I felt as if all nature shared in the joy of the great birthday. Going through the woods, the softness of my tread upon the mossy ground and among the brown leaves enhanced the Christmas sacredness by which I felt surrounded. As the whitened stems environed me, I thought how the founder of the time had never raised his benignant hand, save to bless and heal, except in the case of one unconscious tree. By Cobham Hall I came to the village, and the churchyard where the dead had been quietly buried, in the sure and certain hope which Christmas time inspired. What children could I see at play and not be loving of, recalling who had loved them? No garden that I passed was out of unison with the day, for I remembered that the tomb was in a garden, and that she, supposing him to be a gardener, had said, "Sir, if thou have borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away." In time, the distant river with the ships came full in view, and with it pictures of the poor fishermen mending their nets, who arose and followed him, of the teaching of the people from a ship pushed off a little way from shore by reason of the multitude, of a majestic figure walking on the water in the loneliness of night. My very shadow on the ground was eloquent of Christmas, for did not the people lay their sick where the mere shadows of the men who had heard and seen him might fall as they passed along? Thus Christmas begirt me, far and near, until I had come to Blackheath, and had walked down the long vista of gnarled old trees in Greenwich Park, and was being steam-rattled through the mists now closing in once more towards the lights of London. Brightly they shone, but not so brightly as my own fire and the brighter forces around it when we came together to celebrate the day. And now I told of worthy Master Richard Watts, and of my supper with the 6 poor travellers, who were neither rogues nor proctors. And from that hour to this, I have never seen one of them again. The end of The 7 Poor Travellers by Charles Dickens. And as you can see, there's another story here written in 1855 called The Holly Tree. Let's just have a quick look and see if there's an illustration. There often is in this book. Oops. Oh yes, there we go. What does it say? The Holly Tree. I'm not sure who the illustrations were by, but obviously they were done in the 1800s. It's kind of a sweet picture, isn't it? Holly tree, little boy, I presume it's a little boy, by the pantaloons, and the gardener with his ancient equivalent of Wellington boots, gum boots, whatever they were called. And again, this has got a lovely little, oops, here we go, try and take it up without damaging it. Got a little tissue protector. So, how are we doing for time? I might pause it here if that's okay with you. I hope it's been relaxing enough. I'm never quite sure how long to do. I'm guessing kind of 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on that. I'd also like to say thank you if you have commented already. I've been pleasantly surprised by what a lovely community. I know it's the internet, and I'm sure I should get some nasty stuff at some point, but I've been really encouraged by most of the comments that I've had, so thank you very much if you have commented, and also given me some ideas. I've still only just about sussed out how to upload a short, but I've got some interesting books that we're going to look at. I also had a question as well from a fairly famous actor whose son is about to audition in Britain, in England, for drama school. He was a bit of a child star. He's been in a couple of films. In fact, he was in Batman as well. And he's now looking for audition pieces, and I thought I might have a look and share those audition pieces with you. Obviously, I won't sort of name them just so that they're not embarrassed in any way, shape or form. But we came across some interesting pieces. But for now, let's leave Charles alone. I better put my Welsh bookmark back. And I'll put this tissue paper. Do I need to cover him up? Well, I suppose I do really, do I? Because when I close the book, that will happen. I also love the fact this has been around since the 1850s. I wonder how many other people and where they all were that's handled this book and looked at that illustration like we've just done. It's kind of glorious, isn't it, really? So, there's a big finger now. Yes, I did look at the date, didn't I? Earlier on. Oops. Actual sort of copyright. Yes, there we go. Yes, 1876. That's when the book was published in London by Chapman and Hall at 193 Piccadilly. And that, of course, is the illustration, The 7 Poor Travellers, that we've just read. Lovely, isn't it? Fantastic. So, thank you once again for sticking with me if you have done. Thank you for getting to the end. And I shall be back, I think about every week is the best thing, is it? Although I'm quite enjoying myself. And again, I'm so pleased, so encouraged by some of the lovely comments that you've left. So thank you for your support. You will be helping the arts, as they say. And although it's not Christmas, as Charles Dickens says, God bless us. Bless us, everyone. Thanks.